Good afternoon, Patriot pals. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. I think flashbacks are important. I think it's important to really put things into perspective. There's a lot of people whose loyalties are finicky the moment they sense any risk at all. They jumped ship, and I've been voicing my frustration around that concept for a while. The moment there's some massive mainstream media scandal attacking Donald Trump, all of a sudden you see a bunch of weak Republicans and some moderates, rather woke, have independents who supported Donald Trump in the past saying this is it. This is the last straw. I'm done with Donald Trump. Supporting Donald Trump will lead to nothing but more division and lost elections. And I always responded with the same thing. I find it frankly disgraceful how easy it is for so many people to ditch the guy after he had such an incredible run in 2016. Such a great 4 years that could have been way better had he not been obstructed at every point in turn. And now, after this disastrous Joe Biden first term, Donald Trump is still battling, still fighting for American greatness. He's not giving up on the nation, not giving up on his supporters, his constituents, but many Republicans and independents are giving up on him. I find that disgraceful. Is Ron DeSantis a decent option? Sure. But really, what has Donald Trump done to justify him not deserving his second term in office? In my opinion, nothing. And he has a whole lot of unfinished business. If anybody deserves a second term in office, it's Donald Trump, and especially after he warned everybody back then it was just empty rhetoric. Oh, yeah, the stock market is gonna crash. Sure. The world's gonna become unstable. World War III gas prices, the southern border crime, back then it was just empty political rhetoric, theoretically. But now you've seen that Donald Trump was pretty much right about everything. You have this man who was a great president for his first term, who was right on the money when it comes to his predictions, who weren't the American people in the last election that if you go that path, you're gonna get this old grocery list of problems. He was right on every single bullet point. Now that guy doesn't deserve to come back and clean up the mess. No, I'm not buying it. And I'm frankly frustrated with, again, like I said earlier, the sort of flip-flopping nature of voters. I think that's probably a decent way to describe it. I've seen it so many different times. And 3 or 4 months ago, after the November election, there was a lot of doom and gloom and finger-pointing. And I specifically said that sure, Donald Trump's political stock is going to take a deep hit right here because the 2020 election results weren't what people were looking for. People wanted a red wave, but rather it was just a slight red victory. And so, of course, Donald Trump's political image was going to take a hit, considering the Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, Fox News faction of the GOP was going to go after him and try to use him as a scapegoat. But immediately after acknowledging that fact, I said, it's probably not going to last. Things move pretty quickly in the world of politics. And for maybe a couple of months, Donald Trump is going to be the villain. Pretty soon he's going to get right back to where he was. It's very similar with Joe Biden, for instance, after the Afghanistan fall, the inflation crisis and everything, he hit the mid-30s, an approval rating, which is abysmal for a Democrat. I mean, that's like hitting in the 20s as a Republican, but even then we knew that he'd have a comeback. It's just a matter of time. It's just the way voters are. Donald Trump was public enemy number one, and all of a sudden, people are coming right back. You see how they flip-flop. Your emotions get pulled in by all the headlines, all the fake scandal, all the outrage, the faux outrage and manufactured outrage from the media. And then as you sober up and detox from all the propaganda, you start to view things from a proper perspective. I've been using the word sober as I tried to describe this. I think it's the perfect word. All of a sudden, people have a much more sober analysis and sober view, and they're realizing the same thing. I think they realize every single time with these ebbs and flows, maybe Donald Trump wasn't that bad, but I think it goes beyond that. Donald Trump wasn't not that bad. Donald Trump as in was great, and he continues to be great. Is he a human being with character flaws? Absolutely. No one's ever going to deny that. And I've stated that unequivocally a million different times. But to pretend as if you're perfect, or that anybody's perfect for that matter, would be utterly disingenuous. Donald Trump has flaws like anybody else. At the end of the day, the pros outweigh the cons significantly, a whole lot more than with this sleepy, creepy, poopy pants Joe Biden guy. Well, I don't think anybody can say is great, not even Democrats, as we're now seeing polling data that 9 out of 10 Democrats don't want Sleepy Joe to run again. They don't want him representing the Democrat Party or leading the Democrat Party. But the majority of Republicans still want Donald Trump, and I think that number is going to continue to rise. I think we're going to see a pretty even split between him and Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is undeniably a fierce adversary and contender, but again, he's not even running it to pretend as if Donald Trump is a bad option. I think is frankly disingenuous, incompetent, stupid. And I think the Never Trump faction is injecting a copious amounts of cocaine these days. If we go with Donald Trump, then we're done. He's ruined his public image. Really, what's the other option not going with Donald Trump and basically losing the white working class, losing the Trump base, which is the majority of the Republican Party? It's absolutely stupid. Yada. The grass is always greener on the other side. You don't realize what you had until it's gone, and I think it's time that people really start to open up their eyes, sober up from all the propaganda and the opium. Anything else is a losing strategy. And then, folks, Congressman James Comer is giving the Treasury Department to finally testify and get documents on Hunter Biden. Okay. They are stalling because federal government is stalling. They have not yet indicted or charged Hunter, but they keep investigating. It's interesting with Democrats. They investigate forever and then eventually find nothing. But you don't have the endless coverage in The Atlantic, The Times, The Washington Post, Rolling Stone, Vanity Fair, Esquire, BuzzFeed, Vice, Daily Beast, all these publications, these public relations monstrosity, say one thing all the time about Hunter, which is nothing really, or that it's not that big of a deal. And they say the same thing about Trump. Oh my God, the embodiment of criminality. Trump, they can't find anything. They haven't indicted him, haven't charged him with a crime yet. It generates endless coverage. And they investigate the direct political rivals for things he didn't do. Here you have obvious, clear violations of the law. The federal government was investigating Hunter while Trump was being impeached for asking about investigating Hunter and Joe. So that's where we are in American politics. But here, huge news. Washington Free Beacon. Hunter Biden associate cooperating the GOP as an investigation into family business dealings. A former business associate of Hunter is cooperating with House Republicans in investigation into Biden's family foreign business dealings. According to Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, huge development. You also have a whistleblower at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This is actually really interesting. This person is, according to the individual being being investigated because of political purposes. He gave the Federal Bureau of Investigation information on Hunter in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the Washington Free Beacon, in 2019. Okay, House. Okay, so hold on one second. Let's just see this here. I have the article. You have a situation where this invert here. So that the actual whistleblower says he gave DOJ information on buying family foreign business deals. He's going to name names after being detained and when he claims are politically motivated charges. Okay, so this is huge. This is really huge. Here's the article. Washington Free Beacon. Whistleblower. He'll read it again. Whistleblower claims since he gave DOJ information on Biden's family foreign business deals. God loved us, threatening to name names after being detained on what he claims are politically motivated charges. An Israeli think tank executive who served alongside Hunter as an advisor to a Chinese energy conglomerate widely suspected of serving as a front for the Chinese Communist Party now, since he provided the Federal Bureau of Investigation with a trove of information about the Biden family's foreign business dealings. He was the co-director of the Washington-based Institute for the Analysis of Global Security. Provided information by Hunter, his father, his uncle to the Justice Department in March of 2019. And this is about a $6 million deal in 2017. To procure energy investment deals in the U.S. They paid Hunter $6 million. Okay. And the claims come as former Hunter business partner Eric Sherwin has started cooperating of House Oversight Committee's investigation of the family's foreign business dealings. So you have one whistleblower, one partner. Why yes to business partners, and one Federal Bureau of Investigation. I want to say I don't think informant, but somebody who's basically telling all because he's now being targeted. Politically. Hit subscribe to this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, right now you have two people working with James Comer, who are intimately involved with Hunter's Joe's brother and everyone around them. So it's heating up. This is according to Washington Free Beacon. Whistleblower says he gave DOJ information on Biden family foreign business deals. You have millions of dollars flowing to Hunter, and how I mean that there's also, if you can believe this, paintings that are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. People purchased Hunter Biden originals, paintings, okay, where you're talking about even the greatest artists of all time, don't have their paintings sold for $6, $7, $8, 100,000. And Hunter's paintings are being sold for $500,000, $500,000. This is very bizarre. DOJ is trying to bury me and protect Joe. Jim and Hunter left. 7 Israeli lawyer for left claims his client providing information about Hunter Biden to the Federal Bureau of Investigation in 2019. His connection to the Chinese energy suggests companies just he knows something about the Bidens, and an American lawyer for left has signaled he will provide information to Congress about left's case. Dr. Left is the whistleblower. Left attorney told the Washington Free Beacon he asserts that the prosecutors decided against pursuing less information, quote, and are instead targeting him with trumped up and false charges. So there you go. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable when now you get impeachment, and the impeachment is pretty obvious. It's going to deal with pay-to-play schemes. It's going to deal with obvious money going into to their account, Hunter Joe, their business accounts. And if Hunter is serving as a conduit for Joe there, then that's the issue. Okay, Democrats, and that you've had pundits who think that this isn't a big deal, like, oh, so what? It's not as bad as Trump. There is nothing that Trump has ever been accused of doing. Even when he was accused of working with another country to either acquire the DNC emails or benefited from the DNC emails. That's not as bad as working with intelligence fronts to derive from millions of dollars and then forcing not a prosecutor and then having an invasion under the watch of Democrats and Joe Biden. So I mean, it's astounding to me how you have everyone at The Atlantic or The Washington Post, do they not realize, but an invasion took place while Democrats were in charge? Do they not realize that a spy balloon went all across the country, and Biden did nothing? And from the Aleutian Islands, they could have been downed over Alaska. They decided not to do anything. Then you have to ask yourself if Trump was accused because of his foreign policy, and nothing else, a change in foreign policy, because it benefited the Kremlin. Biden's foreign policy and the way Democrats have run foreign policy the past 4 years. Okay. Their vantage point regarding a whole lot of things benefited countries that gave Hunter and Joe money. So especially the most populous country in the world. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. If you're up for it, I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching.